Welcome to the AG News Show Christmas Special. I am your host, Roberto Alvarez-Galloso, serving you all of the best in today's music with today's musicians. And I have the pleasure and honor of having one of the greatest from Maryland, Ariella Joy. For listening to her music is like going back to the 1960s. A mixture of Joan Collins, Joan Baez, and a little bit of Peter, Paul, and Mary in the style. For me, it's an honor having you here, Ariella.
Thank you. I love how you say my name.
I try to do great pronunciation.
Yeah, it's great. A lot of people say Ariella, which is not correct, but you nailed it.
Thank you very much. Okay, you recorded an EP called Where We Are.
Yes.
This year. Yet a long, long time ago, you also recorded The Last 3 Hours.
Yes.
How can you reconcile the era in which you recorded Where We Are with the era of The Last 3 Hours?
That's a really good question. So The Last 3 Hours I released in 2018, the fall of 2018, and it's 4 original songs, and I put out this EP before I had a band. So I wrote all the songs with guitar and like a vocal melody, and then I got together with a really talented musician friend of mine, Spencer Losciavo, and I had heard I didn't know him actually that well at the time. He's just another local musician, and I loved his EP that he had released, Chasing Ghosts, and after listening to it, I reached out to him and I was like, help me produce my first EP. So we co-produced it and came up with all of the instrumental parts, him and I, and it was amazing. And I loved how they turned out. And then after I released The Last 3 Hours, I decided to form a band. And I got, at first, for a while, it was just a trio. So I had Andrew Wink and Kevin Flynn, and Kevin did drums and Andrew did lead guitar. We didn't have a bassist for a little while there, but the main difference I would say between The Last 3 Hours and Where We Are is the fact that The Last 3 Hours I didn't have a band, and Where We Are I is with my current band. So the influences from my bandmates, a lot of the, their different influences they brought to my songs, which I absolutely love. And yeah, that's one of the reasons I released it under our band name, Ariella Joy and the Silver Lining. But yeah.
Great, Ariella. How was the band Silver Lining formed? Because I saw all of your YouTube videos. I saw every one of them. I saw the originals. I saw the covers. They're excellent. Very, very, very excellent.
So
how did the Silver Lining came up to be?
So I put feelers out like with musicians that I knew, basically saying I was looking for a bass player and a drummer. That was kind of initially, and maybe a lead guitarist. And Andrew Wink, I didn't know him at all, but he reached out to me through like a music Facebook group that I had like posted that I was looking for bandmates. And he said he could play bass. So we got together to just jam, and I showed him some of my songs. And as he was playing them, he was like, you know what? Could I try doing lead guitar instead of bass? And I was like, sure. I'm just figuring everything out. So go for it. Like, if that's what you're feeling, go for it. And I'm glad he did, because it adds like a lot more kind of rock and alternative elements to my music. That's really neat with his lead guitar. And then with Kevin Flynn, he was a friend of a friend. So a friend of mine, Brendan, who was actually just practicing with tonight because I have a gig helping him out on Friday. I was at a show and he was like, "Hey, meet my friend Kevin. He's a drummer. Are you looking for a drummer?" So that was just kind of from those feelers I had put out to friends. That's how I found him. Now I will say I'm kind of now in a transitional time with my band because I'm having to find new people. Both my two original people are working on other projects and really busy. And so having to replace them now, which is not the easiest thing, but it'll happen. And then Spencer, who was not originally part of my band, but kind of joined on a little bit later. But the same one who helped me out with my first EP, he's still with the band doing bass and backup vocals.
Great. Okay. You answered at least 25% of my questions about before, today, and after. So how did you get started? And you already said what you're going to do. You're already talking about the present, but go ahead and elaborate again.
Sure,
and the
yeah.
plans for the future.
Yeah. So I've always been like involved in music and theater, and I would say I started in high school with writing my own songs. And originally I knew how to I grew up learning piano, and then in high school I started teaching myself guitar. Eventually took lessons, but once I started playing guitar, I started writing my own songs. And so at first it was really just for myself, and just I had a lot of feelings. I was a very emotional teenager, and I was in love for the first time and all those things. So honestly, like writing came so natural to me, and it was such a great outlet. So yeah, I started in high school, and then in college, I was still doing it and starting to go to open mics in college. And then I knew before I graduated college, I knew that once I graduated, I would work to pursue being a full-time musician. So basically graduated college in 2016, and started trying to play out, did a lot of open mics. I still do open mics sometimes. I love them. But started playing out professionally and getting paid for gigs in around 2017.
Great. And your open mic gigs, they're in the Maryland area, or have you performed outside of the Maryland area?
For the open mics, there are a couple spots like I like going. I'm in Baltimore, so there are a couple spots in Baltimore that I like to go to with some friends for open mics. It's like a great way to try out new songs, or just good practice getting in front of people if I haven't performed in a little while. So yeah, they're local, but other shows I have played a little further out. Like I've played some shows out in Virginia, DC, Pennsylvania, infrequently, but mostly Maryland, Baltimore.
Great. Where can we find Ariella Joy? Where can we find her digitally and every place else?
Yeah, so probably the best place to go is my website, ariellajoymusic.com. And if you're wanting to stream my music, if you just search Ariella Joy and the Silver Lining, that will get you my latest EP, Where We Are. It's streaming on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, everything. So yeah, that's where you can find that. And then my EP that we talked about, my first EP, The Last 3 Hours, that's under Ariella Joy. So it's a little confusing to have it under two different artist names, but if you listen to both of the EPs, you'll understand why it is a bit of a different sound. So, but yeah, everything can be found from my website, Ariella Joy Music. If you want to buy a merch from me, CDs, I was showing Dr. Rob. This is my first, I did not print out CDs of my second EP, but my first EP, I have a beautiful CD, and I have t-shirts. I'll probably be making new t-shirts as well. But yeah, it's great to have support as a, independent musician. So
Yeah, for us, it's a pleasure and honor not only supporting your music, but also supporting all independent artists.
yes,
The
yes.
AG News Show, plus the other show that I have for Americana Music, Americana Bistro Grill. We support independent artists.
Thank you.
We don't support the big people. They already have all the sponsors they could get. We support the independent ones. And in Spanish, let's put it in perspective. I was born in Ohio. My parents were from Cuba, and before that, they were from Galicia and the Basque Country. So what does that mean? My other program, Noticiero RCAG, is a Spanish language program that goes all around Latin America, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East and Europe. And we also support independent artists in the Spanish-speaking world because of the monopolies that are there as well, just as they are here in the United States. But for us, it's a pleasure and an honor. We are not as available as you are in all of the digital platforms. We are available in YouTube. We are available in Rumble, Gab, Brighteon, BitChute. Well, many people talk about the alternatives, but I go where the doors are open. We are not yet on Spotify. We hope to one day get on Spotify, but we'll be working on that. We're just simply sticking with YouTube, Rumble, Gab, Brighteon, and BitChute. Although there are some videos of our show that are hanging around in Vimeo, but that's when we were members of Vimeo. We're also on WordPress as well. For us, it is a pleasure and an honor having you here in our Christmas special with the AG News Show. You're one of the first people in the Christmas special. I also invite other people to visit me on Facebook and Instagram, where we do have our Christmas special all around from October to January. And for me, it's a pleasure and an honor. For everybody from the center of Florida to the rest of the world, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And peace in, peace out, and peace everywhere. And for others who believe, may God bless you now and always. Until the next time. Stay